Well, he attack me. But Jaden Chase, they have to make the fans them know what really are going on.
Blessings Nation, and now welcome to the channel. Yeah man, Jaden Chase. Another one we're gonna bring another reasoning upon the topic of current affairs. So if you're new to the channel, well, I'm suggesting that you click the subscribe icon and of course let your voice be heard. Like and share the video. Yes, like and share the video, and of course drop a comment in the comment section. Now let's get right into the reasoning. Now of course, citizens are outraged to hear that Leroy Russell, Tommy Lee Sparta, a dancehall artist, currently serving his sentence behind bars, had to be hospitalized after he was wounded not by another inmate but rather by the correctional officers themselves. Or what this is a George Floyd situation that take place in a prison. Now of course there are conflicting reports. One is that contraband was found in the cell occupied by Tommy Lee Sparta and others, and that Tommy Lee Sparta got loud with the officers, and that this was the end result of the altercation. But the official report by the tabloids did not state the reason for the brawl. All it said is that dancehall artist Tommy Lee Sparta was injured during an altercation which occurred with correctional officers at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center in downtown Kingston. Now, according to the Gleaner report, Tommy Lee Sparta was at first taken to the medical facility at the prison itself. It seems like somewhere, shape or form, the injuries were being downplayed, thinking that it was nothing serious and that the medical facility at the prison could deal with it. For some reason, he was later transferred to the Kingston Public Hospital. And at this moment, it is reported that there's a strong police presence at the hospital. Now to date, Tommy Lee Sparta has been incarcerated for over a year after he pled guilty to illegal possession of firearm and ammunition in March 2021. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, which might have been a different scenario if these new laws pertaining to firearms are put into place. The entertainer was arrested in December 2020 and he was then found with the illegal weapon along Alborn Road, which is somewhere in New Kingston. And for those who don't know the story, after having pled guilty, after being sentenced by the judge and serving his sentence in prison, the ballistics report for the weapon that he was found with was then completed, and it was found that the weapon was used in major cases being investigated by the JCF. Now, to date, there was never any talk of Tommy Lee Sparta being charged for those crimes, as his attorneys outlined the fact that what was taking place in the island is that weapons were being bought from other individuals illegally and things of that nature. And it seemed like as if everything was not all well, seeing that Tommy Lee Sparta was still behind the bars, but that his sentence was less than 5 years. He still had a catalog of music on the streets, still doing well, and it seemed like he was just serving his sentence until he was released, and then he would get back to work putting out dancehall hits. And of course, fans and well-wishers are hoping for a speedy recovery for Tommy Lee Sparta. And seeing that initially those individuals at the correctional facility brought Tommy Lee Sparta to the medical facility within the prison walls, hopefully Tommy Lee Sparta was transferred to KPH because of, they wanted a more equipped facility to do a better evaluation and to make sure that the artist is okay. And as I was saying, when the video started, people got definitely outraged. Fear say what took place was not at the hands of another inmate. It's a bad and not so bad if we hear say him and somebody who occupies the cell that he's been placed in, they jump off and they had an altercation and it result in something like that. But to hear that there was no other way that the correctional officers could have restrained Mr. Russell, and to see that, think about it, no other occupants of the cell were rushed to any healthcare facility. So basically, they did not step in. Them did load or something they alone. If the correctional officers they're gonna say, well, the whole cell, rush them and they had to defend themselves. But you have to remember these jobs that these individuals, whether they be officers, soldiers, people at correctional facilities, right now easy. And remember, when you think about defending yourself, that's a whole nother story. So if that was the case, it wouldn't have been justified, because you can't justify unlawful harm. That is why it is called unlawful harm. But it would be a different story. But the Gleaner reports the officers and not officer. So it wasn't like a one night guard that doing rounds and a checker pass through and this situation happened. This have got to get clarified. They might forgot to tell you if it was an orchestrated raid that took place. And Tommy Lee Sparta was not cooperating with the authorities. Got loud, got physical, and this take place. But if they're gonna say them just a pass through and that go on, and one individual was then handled in this manner. We don't know the severities of the injuries. That has not been detailed. That is something they keep close at this moment in time. But no attorneys are going to look into this. This is not something you can. The fact that the Gleaner was notified, and I'm sure the authorities at the JCF should have been also notified as well. Think about it. An individual is brought in from a prison facility, and they must say, a guard doing this. They must say the Wárder them doing this. Of course, the authorities should be looking into whoever was on work that day, whoever the report has been made against. This happened out there on the island. And Tommy Lee might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in birth certificate supposed to Jamaica, he is a citizen of that island. They must look into it. Governor General hospitalized. Tommy Lee Sparta hospitalized. And as I was saying, if it was a situation where it was inmate versus inmate, it would have different. We all know it would have different. And of course, by law, they would have still have investigated. That's the person who injured Tommy Lee Sparta would have additional sentencing or additional years added to his sentence for the unlawful wounding of another inmate. So if it take place and the same unlawful wounding, but he's not an inmate, it's a person who work for the place. What go on? Nothing. They must say it's a work hazard. It's an accident. See, I tell me say, talk to me in the comment section. I tell me say there is no justice given. If I saw the scenario play out, no further investigations will be done. The authorities now get involved. You have to talk to me. I'm going to hear what go on. Of course, Tommy Lee Sparta's relatives have been notified, and as we know, them probably on their way now. So we're going to hear what them have to say. Of course, we know the family. Now go hold back. Them are going to tell you exactly what them ears happen, and them are going to tell you exactly what happened to Tommy Lee Sparta. Them not going to do like the news report and then hide the severity or tell you safety. No, it was just that them are going to tell you exactly what going on. So stay tuned, people. As soon as the Spartan's family or his music team make a statement, I'm going to hear what going on. For now, the official story is that an unknown altercation developed between Tommy Lee Sparta and correctional officers, which resulted in Tommy Lee Sparta initially being brought to the medical wing of the correctional facility and then later transferred to the Kingston Public Hospital. The nature of his injuries are still unknown. The severity of his injuries are still unknown. The unit settings, and for those who don't even know move settings from, I know we don't need a ladder. My sentiments for you and yours, of course, want to live, love, and prosper. Well, first and foremost, click the subscribe icon, then the bell icon, put it on all. And this is how you'll be notified of all fresh content as soon as fresh content is uploaded and made available for you right here on the platform. Now, until the reason again, my sentiments for you and yours, I want to live, love, and prosper. Stay tuned.